Onkalo is now the first repository that's ready to open. The design time is somewhere around 200,000 years or so.
It's really, I said it's the most beautiful nuclear power plant in the world.
450 meters below my feet right now, about a kilometer that way, a company is preparing to put bundles of nuclear waste underground for the next 100,000 years. I am here on site in Finland at Onkalo to learn all about the world's very first long-term deep geologic nuclear waste repository. Let's go inside. The reason for my first trip to Finland wasn't a nuclear one. I was actually there to receive an honorary doctorate from Lapinranta University of Technology for international contributions to science communication and popularization. It was a tremendous experience, one that I now share with former Mythbuster Jamie Heineman. But since I traveled all the way to the happiest country in the world, after graciously accepting my hat and giving a short lecture for the Student Union, I also wanted to visit Onkalo, the world's first permanent deep geologic nuclear waste repository. Onkalo is a Finnish word for hiding place. This facility, set to start sequestering all of Finland's nuclear waste this year, is unlike any nuclear project I've ever seen, because it goes much further than just a storage site. It tries to further the Finnish public's understanding of nuclear waste and of nuclear science in general. Why this seemed destined to happen in Finland is what I'd like to explore with some experts in this video. But first, what is nuclear waste? It's separated into three categories. One is low-level nuclear waste. This is the kind of everyday trash produced at a nuclear site that is either lightly contaminated or suspected to be. Things like gloves, booties, cleaning cloths, hairnets, aprons, and jackets, that kind of stuff. Low-level waste is packed in barrels just like this and then crushed all the way down to save space at a disposal site like a purpose-built landfill, where it decays and stays, even if it wasn't contaminated in the first place. Next is intermediate-level waste. This is unquestionably contaminated material that's more radioactive than LLW but doesn't generate significant decay heat. This could be reactor water, which is solidified before disposal, valves, pipes, filters, anything generated by day-to-day operations that might require some shielding if disposed of. Intermediate-level waste is usually stored right along with low-level waste. LLW and ILW represent the majority of the volume of nuclear waste a power plant produces, but only a minority of the activity. 95% of the radioactivity in all the nuclear waste a power plant produces is inside the high-level waste, which is usually the uranium fuel after it's fissioned for a few years inside a reactor. This is the stuff that has to be handled carefully, but not because of the uranium. The uranium-238 left in the fuel pellets is only weakly radioactive, and via alpha radiation at that. Spent nuclear fuel has to be stored in wet pools for years and then dry casks forever, first because of the so-called fission products, and second because of the minor actinides. Fission products are the much more radioactive, short-lived byproducts of uranium-235 splitting, and the minor actinides are the elements heavier than uranium and plutonium that are created by repeated neutron bombardment. While the fission products make high-level waste immediately dangerous with high gamma activity, the minor actinides and their daughters continue to produce beta, gamma, and decay heat, necessitating forever-term storage. I'll point out, however, that high-level waste is not what pop culture makes it out to be. Nothing is green, nothing is glowing, and if anything was liquid beforehand, it won't be when it's stored. So, where is all the scary stuff? In the United States, virtually every neutron of it is still right there at its respective power plant, even if that plant has been decommissioned. It's either cooling down in pools of water or sitting above ground in casks of concrete. Why? Because in the 84 years since the first sustained nuclear criticality in Chicago, there has never been a good place to put high-level nuclear waste. Scientists determined decades ago that the safest, most efficient option would be to simply place it in so-called deep geologic storage, far away from humans and water tables. There it would decay away. It might take millions of years, but that bedrock isn't going anywhere. This John Oliver-like framing I'm using here makes it seem like nuclear waste then is some kind of ticking time bomb, dangerous material piling up with no place to go. But I want to be very clear. There has never been a single case of public harm, injury, or death resulting from the on-site storage of commercial nuclear waste at any power plant anywhere, ever. The same cannot be said for industrial materials. Even if high-level nuclear waste isn't nearly the problem the media makes it out to be, it would still be a good thing if the world or even just a single country could figure out a better place to put it than on concrete pads behind power plants. Enter Finland. After the failure that was Yucca Mountain in the United States, this small but very prosperous country has finally given the world the example it needs. But how? The basic design of Onkalo is straightforward. Through Finland's exceptionally stable, minimally permeable geology, you dig a deep hole, then some tunnels branching off from that hole, with room for expansion. Then the high-level nuclear waste, which again is mostly spent fuel bundles, arrives. A completely automated human-free process takes the transport casks along an assembly line, where it unseals the cask and removes the fuel. The fuel is then placed in a new boron steel canister. Boron absorbs neutrons, which is then placed inside a corrosion-resistant copper canister, backfilled with neutral argon gas and sealed. From here, robots take the nuclear coffin down the 450-meter shaft to slot it into its final resting place and cover the hole with bentonite clay. This special mineral mixture swells up in contact with water, providing both stability and preventing water flow. And that's it. Onkalo is planning to receive Finland's nuclear waste starting this year and then for the next 74 years, until it's decommissioned in 2100, when the entire location will be simply backfilled with material and sealed off forever. You probably want me to say that the facility will then be like some location you'd wander across in Fallout. Sorry, Vault Dweller, nothing to really explore here. Maybe some buildings, maybe some deep time warning signs, and a flat spot where there used to be a hole in the ground. But good geology and a good plan doesn't explain Finland. What does explain this world first is something that a country like America could use a lot more of right now: trust and transparency.
If we compare like Finland to some other countries, the level of trust was perhaps higher towards the science, and also that there was this legislation change in the mid-90s that you cannot transport foreign waste to Finland. So it was kind of a bit nationalistic idea that we are taking care of the waste which is produced here in Finland. This kind of a, let's say, feeling of responsibility that we have accepted the the reactor to be located and operated in our municipality. Perhaps some of them felt that we are somehow also partly responsible for taking care of this.
The idea of the repository is to put the high-level nuclear waste out of the biosphere into the geosphere. So back to where it came from. Put the materials back to where they came from.
I like that framing. That's good. I'm going to use that. That's a good one.
That'll be my guest. That'll be my guest.
Yeah.
Nuclear will be a success story if we are open and transparent. And that is what we're trying to do here. We are trying to tell people what we're doing. We're trying to open our gates. Of course, there's security controls, but with the bus tours and school classes, and just to tell what's radiation, what is nuclear, what it does. The more you know, the less you fear, and that has worked quite well. This visitor center, we have like 20,000 organized visits a year, which is quite a lot.
Yeah.
This is a bit of end of the road place. But then, of course, we have other visits, politicians, people from the nuclear area, civil servants, regulators. Our stakeholder groups is, you could say that when nuclear is concerned, everybody is a stakeholder.
As an American, the process by which Onkalo finally came to be sounds more than just foreign. Geology was only one of the considerations. The opinions of residents were just as important. They were actually given the power to veto the decisions of corporations and the government. Imagine that. And the Finns are nothing if not efficient. Onkalo has 3 nuclear reactors just across the water, producing 30% of the country's energy. Unlike the United States, which is going to have to haul high-level nuclear waste across thousands of kilometers for storage, Olkiluoto is just 5 kilometers from final disposal.
basically, I would say Finnish people are very practical people. Maybe it's the hard conditions in the winter, maybe it's because of the history of surviving. If there's a national need for something, Finnish people are eager to make the decision over the party lines, and you need to be united to do those. And I think that's the Finnish strength, that if we need that, we want to be self-sufficient with energy, then what choices do we have? We've had a really good track record. We have high trust. I think the public acceptance in Finland for nuclear is like 80%. And the opposition is maybe 4-5%. It's really low.
Wow.
So basically everything goes smoothly, and as long as we keep open and transparent policy and telling the things, like my thing is that to win trust, you need to be brave enough to tell the bad things as well. So then people respect you and they understand you.
While Onkalo is the world's first permanent disposal site, it's not the first way the world has handled nuclear waste. If you know about this topic, you might ask, why not recycle, or more accurately, reprocess Finland's HLW like France does? Simply put, Finland doesn't need to. It has the space, it has a public-approved location, it has enough uranium, and it doesn't have nuclear weapons like France does, which gets plutonium from spent nuclear fuel after reprocessing. I've argued that this isn't some wasted waste opportunity, it's again Finnish pragmatism. If you don't already have the significant safety and separation infrastructure for reprocessing, just store the waste if you can still meet your country's needs. What Finland did decide to do that it absolutely didn't have to is make Onkalo one of the best examples of nuclear outreach I have ever seen. This is the visitor center, placed right in between the power plant and where the waste casks will travel down a 450-meter shaft. Here, everyone from nuclear industry workers to politicians to the media to buses of school children come in to learn not just about waste, not just about power, but about fundamental science too. This place absolutely blew me away.
A reoccurring theme in everything that I've seen here in Finland is that the key to getting the public to accept all of this technical stuff is being open and honest with them. And here at the Visitor Center in Onkalo, this is one of the best public demonstrations of a nuclear facility and what goes on inside it that I have ever seen. Let's take a look at some examples. Check this out. This is a 2-scale model of what it would be like to be inside one of those nuclear reactor vessels that you can see across the water. You have the fuel bundles here, which are fissioning to provide all the heat in water, which is why you have the beautiful blue Cherenkov radiation here. But what I think this really gets across is the incredible energy density of nuclear power. Just this surface area, just this room, can provide 15% of this entire country's electricity. Just this. That's crazy. Next, it's pretty rare that in a nuclear exhibit you actually get to work with nuclear material. I love this. It is a way to show that a lot of things in your life can be radioactive and they can be fine, and you can demonstrate how to shield against those things. So, for example, we have a regular wristwatch here underneath this Geiger counter, and then I am going to move a wristwatch which has glowing radium paint still in it from many decades ago. Radiation is all around us, but it's also something that we can know and study. So if I put this steel in between, by having elements like this that I can actually manipulate and see and experiment with, it gives me a sense of just more than the invisible. And finally, a real tangible example of what this is going to all actually be. When Finland starts to put all of its nuclear waste down underground to decay away to the point of harmlessness, it's going to actually be inside of one of these. This is great science communication. When you have something that follows this Finnish principle that I'm discovering of showing and not telling, being open and transparent and honest, it just goes a real long way in allaying people's fears and not just being some talking point from a corporation or a politician. This is something that you can understand, and then maybe if you agree to it, put it in your backyard. This is just, I like this place.
And these are just the bigger exhibits. There is a model submarine that shows you where the cooling water from the nearby reactor returns to the sea. There's a video of the people operating the control room of the nearby reactor, so again, coming back to transparency, you can see exactly what people do there. There's a cloud chamber. There's a puzzle that tests your newly accumulated knowledge about the different levels of nuclear waste. There's an interactive display wall that compares Finland's energy use to different countries. There's a VR experience. There's a horrifying animatronic of Albert Einstein. Look, I have been to a lot of different nuclear-related locations now, and this is certainly one of the most impressive from a communication standpoint. Oh, and there's even a little 4D experience that simulates the elevator that takes people down into the bowels of Onkalo. Fun fact, 450 meters would start to add up if humans were going up and down at the site, so this little simulation is simulating what is the fastest personnel elevator in the world. It accelerates at nearly 1G. Your weight significantly changes.
Oh, hey. Welcome back.
Finland did not have to cook this hard. The fact that they did shows the country's commitment to trust and transparency in the community. Outside of the space, it gets even better. They purposefully built the porch area to have a lovely view of the immense nuclear domes in the distance. There's a hiking trail along the whole site. It's just really good.
This idea of national responsibility, I find it important that once we produce something like spent nuclear fuel, then we are, as a country, we are responsible for taking care of that.
The need is so obviously there, and the alternatives have been tried out at large enough scale that everybody can see that solar and wind are not going to save us. End of story.
If you take something from, you should respect the land. That if you take something from there, you should put it back. And that's exactly what Posiva is doing. We're taking the uranium from the ground and we're putting it back to the ground. And that's there for good. It's bothering nobody.
In Finland, that part of the population who would fool around with their energy supply died out already a long time ago, so evolution has been at work. And the surviving Finns don't want to fool around with the energy supply, because it's a matter of life and death.
They're making history here at Onkalo, but the reason why isn't a mystery. It's a unique combination of a lot of factors: geology, public involvement for decades, public trust in institutions and expertise. And that trust doesn't just come out of thin air, it comes from great science communication like this. And as the world adopts more and more nuclear power, it's gonna be communication like this that the rest of the world is likely to end up emulating. Until next time.